Welcome to All Change, the programme that puts design at the heart of the learning experience. Today we're at Castlevale Secondary School in the West Midlands, where we'll be transforming a music room, providing a space for the delivery of a modern curriculum and for student performances. The music room at Castlevale has the latest technology for composing and performing. So while the curriculum is bang up to date, the room itself needs to be brought into the 21st century. Over a single weekend, we're going to be working with the school community to create a vibrant, stimulating and creative space which reflects the school's arts college status.
The challenge is to make the music room more user-friendly. All along one side of the room are the music keyboards and the computers used to help with composition. But there's not enough space on the benches for them to be used appropriately. And there's no performance area. And also in today's programme, the newly built school in Essex that was shaped from scratch by its new head teacher. Its new teaching team were given a say in how things looked. And a radical design for a new school built on a rig principle, with sky gardens and social spaces. And some purchasing ideas for some exciting products to help with geography classes.
The key to this week's design is trying to make this music room more responsive to what's going on in the space. We've had a chat with Ellen, who's the music teacher there, and we've decided that it can be divided into three distinct spaces. You've got the area for composition, the area for listening, and the area for performance. And at the moment, the space here doesn't really respond to any of those. We've got computers and keyboards down this side of the room. We've got a whiteboard at the front, and then a sort of a no man's land in between. So what we really need to try and do is to link these things together and create a space that works and encourages all of these things to happen. So the first decision we took was to create a second plane above the working desk here, so that the computer monitors could be moved off the table and allow space for the keyboards. So that becomes a more functional area, far more room to move, more space. The other thing that we've done is to take that as an ordering element, give it a quite vivid colour, which creates some focus in the room. And then terminate that with some artwork which is inspired by music. And what we'd like is for the pupils to get involved in that. On the other wall, where at the moment it's just the whiteboard in that space, what we're going to do is to hang some guitars on there, so that we're looking at the form of the guitar. It's almost decoration, almost like a piece of art really. And in front of that is the stage. Now we could have knocked up a stage out of MDF and some kind of softwood frame, but we didn't think that would be good enough. The idea is to give the pupils some kind of feeling that they're special. There's a performance going on. So we've got something off the shelf which is going to provide a very efficient, very effective platform for the performance to go on. The space in between is a bit more loose-fitting. So what we've designed is some benches which can be arranged so that they address the space at the front, and also could be arranged, say, in a circle, which tie in with our ordering element. They're the same colour, very simple box design, but they can be moved around and rearranged so that flexibility can be provided easily. So hopefully what we're delivering this week is a modern space for the modern music curriculum, a space for composition, listening and performance, and really somewhere where pupils can get together and enjoy music.
It's amazing how quickly a cluttered room can be cleared when there's plenty of staff and parents on hand to get stuck in. All the computers, keyboards and musical instruments had to be put away, and the walls had to be cleared of their existing displays before project manager John Craig could start the construction work.
John, this is a really nice big music room. What are you going to do with it?
Well, Marco's idea is, rather than having a standard classroom, is to turn it into a mini auditorium. As you can see here, we have a stage area, so there's no normal sort of desks and chairs and things. All this wall is going to be a sort of very deep blue, to give some depth to behind the stage.
It'll also make it the focus of the room as well, won't it?
Very much so, everything pulls down to here. So I have a stage in the front. I've got some seats, as you can see here, to make. So obviously that's where everybody will be watching the performance. These cupboard units here, very good stories. We're doing absolutely nothing with those at all. There's no need to. But on this wall over here, the students are going to do their own musical modern graffiti. Something that I can't wait to see. I haven't got a clue what they're going to do, but they're going to sort of spray paint everything. That's their contribution to the room. The other thing as well is we have computers linked in with keyboards. A modern musical room this is. And of course at the moment there's not enough space on all this desk area here, so we're going to raise all that area, put the monitors on those, put the keyboards underneath, just to make more use of the space basically. And that really is it. It will be a modern musical classroom.
And will you be giving us a song at any point in this music room?
I thought that was your job.
No, I don't think so.
The boards for the graffiti artwork needed priming before the spray cans could get to work. Head of Music, Ellie Rudge, advised John on the deep, dark blue walls.
You'll be turning no time.
Castle Vale School has the simple yet demanding goal of achieving excellence together. A specialist performing arts college, it wants the new music room to reflect a 21st century curriculum.
Music's really important to the school, it being a performing arts college. And what I'm trying to create really within music lessons is a whole practical performing environment where young people can come in and feel that they can perform and share their talents and their skills with other young people.
And you've got some really talented students here, haven't you?
We have got the most amazingly talented young people here. We are very, very fortunate.
And your room, as it was before we started work this weekend, was really constraining the way that you're able to teach the curriculum.
Yeah, there wasn't enough emphasis really on performing, despite the fact that I did get rid of the tables out in the classrooms in order to create a very practical environment. But it still wasn't enough. And I just thought having a raised area would really rectify that.
And the work that we're doing on your room this weekend, how's that going to change the way in which you're able to deliver teaching and learning here?
Well, you've just helped us out very, very much, really, because what it will actually do is create a really positive environment towards music lessons. But more than that, it'll create an environment where young people will come in and think, wow, this is where we want to be. We want to perform in here because it's a really funky environment now, rather than being very clinical.
While John Craig starts constructing the risers for the computer monitors, the rest of the team get painting and decorating. Bold, bright colours.
Sarah, you're working hard there. How's it going?
Yeah, really well. Not too bad at all.
What do you think of the designs for this room?
I think it's brilliant. They're going to look fantastic when they're done. Yeah, really, really good.
And this is a nice big space, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's lovely. Plenty of space to move about and that, yeah.
And you want to really be able to do that, take some
Yeah,
of it?
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
need lots and lots of space to be able to teach practical subjects. So, yeah, it's good.
Well, there's lots to do. I better let you get back to it.
Okay, thank you.
The students were determined to claim ownership of their new music room, and the spray-painted graffiti panels were their way of making sure this happened. Each board had its own musical theme.
Elle, this is really going to brighten up the room. What's this for?
This is for the benches, for the informal seating area, which is going to really, really be excellent. Now we've got this really bright environment, it'll be fantastic to actually put performances on in here.
And what sort of performances are you going to be doing?
Oh, singing, there'll be playing guitars, drums, there'll be bands, that sort of stuff going on.
Oh, fantastic. As some of our towns expand, there's a real need to provide new schools to match their growing populations. A new school is a great opportunity for a head teacher to create a building which reflects their vision for how teaching and learning can be delivered. Chancellor Park School in Essex was built to cater for the growing population of Chelmsford, and it's a great example of how head teachers can personalise their buildings. Chancellor Park was built on a greenfield site on the edge of Chelmsford. It's a 210-place school built to cater for the new housing in the area. 7 south-facing classrooms form a gentle arc at the rear, and the interior is built around a high central atrium.
This is where I used to stand and when I first came down to the site, and it's where the ethos of the school started. Without a doubt, when I sort of stood here, it was where I started to create the feeling of what I wanted for the school, and it's to some extent where all the ideas came for the school. I used to think that can go here, that can go there, but it's certainly standing in this library used to give me a huge buzz, even when they were still scaffolds and cement mixers everywhere, and I still get that buzz nowadays.
Lally Godfrey had significant input into the design of the classrooms and decided to give each new teacher a say in their own teaching and learning spaces.
Each teacher I was appointing had obviously got their own identities and their own personalities, so I gave them a certain amount of money for themselves, and they had complete free rein on what they wanted to spend it on to make the class theirs. And you'll notice that in one particular classroom there is sort of a screen coming down with traffic lights, and in another classroom they've spent money on a target board for targets for children, various different things. Another one's gone very over with Winnie the Pooh because it suits the younger end of the school, so different things for different teachers.
One of the staff is an NQT who did her teaching practice nearby.
I remember coming in, I remember it being built and sort of seeing it in breeze blocks, and I went back to uni to do a bit more studying, and then once I qualified I came back and saw it sort of still a bit building work but coming on, and then I came back and came in and gradually the carpets went down and it was lovely, and then I walked into this room and thinking, right, it's mine now to do whatever I want with. So the next 2 weeks before September started I was sort of in here most days decorating it, cutting, trimming and things like that. So no, it's lovely. I'd be sad to leave it if I have to move classrooms. I think I feel quite attached to this one in particular. So.
With Chancellor Park being built from the ground up, it was a golden opportunity for the incoming head to shape her own philosophy for teaching and learning at the school.
I had a beautiful opportunity, really, to try and create the school that I believed should exist, and that was one where the children were at the heart of everything we did, and that actually is our mission statement. And from that point of view, as a parent myself, I wanted children here to feel totally safe, totally secure, and to feel to some extent that it was an extension of home. It wasn't somewhere that was different to be frightening or whatever else. So we've worked very hard at making the children feel a part of everything, to feel part of the decision-making process. A hug doesn't hurt. A hug gives an awful lot for a child, and it makes them feel valued, it makes them feel safe.
Castle Vale School was built in 1969 on the Castle Bromwich airfield where Spitfires used to be built and based during the Second World War. There have been a lot of improvements to the housing nearby, but the school itself has been largely untouched.
I think often people underestimate the way the environment actually impacts on children's self-esteem and what they think about themselves. So we're going to put a lot of money and a lot of resources into making our environments and our classrooms exciting and give them a real quality feel.
And that links very much to the music room that we're working on this weekend. How do you think that's going to make a difference?
We've got the music technology in there, we've done some work on the curriculum, but they could do with sprucing up and making more exciting. And I know the children will be really, really excited to see the raised performing area and some of the graffiti art and the things that are going to brighten and enliven that room.
And do you think you'll be able to carry the changes through to the rest of the school?
That would certainly be our aim. We want every learning space in our school to be a really exciting area that motivates, so the children can't wait to get in there. So I think it'll be a real impetus for change within the school.
There's a fair amount of impetus in the music room as a group of students pitched up to help with the painting of the benches for the performance area.
Now, as in most rooms, and especially classroom, storage is always going to be a problem. We have a big problem here, where we're trying to put a computer monitor, a computer itself, a keyboard, a musical keyboard, all on one particular shelf. Quite simply, and it's not rocket science, and it's actually very, very cheap, some MDF boards, as you can see here. We have a line there. They'll go back against the window. Then we can put the computer monitor on there, and also the main frame of it. Then the keyboards can all go underneath, and the problem is solved.
Whilst a lot of the school buildings may look a little tired, staff and senior management at Castle Vale have been very active in working to improve the school's interior spaces, from corridors to computer rooms.
Clive, as a specialist performing arts college, this is a bit of a sad space to have to use for drama and performance. Tell me about what your plans are for this.
It is. As you can see, it's a fairly drab, bland area at the moment. It's what was, I think, the school's small hall. We're really keen to get a specialist dance area going because dance would go absolutely tremendously with our children. They're very talented in that direction. So we hope we can actually extend this area to double its size, put in a proper dance floor, get some mirrors in and make it into a really exciting dance area, which I'm sure will be used by the community as well as the school in a very exciting way. We've got some money set aside for the project to actually make it into a real quality dance studio, and I'm really looking forward to getting going on that.
Another priority for Clive Owen is to improve the rather dated science laboratories. One has recently been transformed into a very modern space.
Clive, what a contrast. We've seen one of your old science rooms, and now this. It's completely different. Tell me what you've done in here.
Well, this one's just been recently refitted, Sharon. I mean, as you can see, they've gone for the idea of having the services at the front and round the outside.
And the point of that is that kids aren't sitting playing with the taps.
Children won't sit and play with taps or other equipment, obviously, so when you want them focused on the board, you're able to do that. And when you want them working in groups, you can move them off to the areas where they need the water and the electric and so on and so forth. So the room has a real flexible feel, as you can see, and teachers can choose to put the tables into squares or into rows, whichever way they want to work, really, or can clear them completely if they want to do some kinesthetic learning.
Working on urban sites can be a challenge for architects and contractors. Sometimes the only solution is to build upwards to create multi-storey schools. As part of the government's Building Schools for the Future programme, Prannoy and Prasad Architects have created a 6-storey inner-city school. Built around a flexible rig concept, they've included learning environments, social spaces and sky gardens. Prannoy and Prasad Architects were given a tight urban site on which to design their exemplar school. They decided to build their 6-storey school with classrooms and clusters of 4 to 6 to create adaptable spaces. Their approach was not to be too literal with their design, but to be flexible and unconstrained.
We saw the exemplar design as an opportunity to design a theory of school, essentially a kit of parts, but not a constructional kit where you've got beams, window units, etc. More a kit of spaces. So the first part of the kit will be the civic ground, which is spaces such as the hall and the sports facilities, for instance, which can be shared with the community, and these can be disposed on the site to suit the locality. The second part of the kit is the rig, which is essentially a rig of learning platforms, and the learning platforms can each be laid out as classrooms or as free-form teaching spaces. And the rig, I mean, in our exemplar design we had it in a straight line, but it actually can respond to the site and layout, and you can get views through. And the learning platforms are connected by light links, essentially, which comes to the third part of the kit of parts, which are these shared social spaces, the stairs, the lifts, also the WC service spaces. Maybe you'll have a 6th form common room up there, you've got staff spaces, and coming at the top where you've got roof gardens and also particularly views back out over the locality at their local neighbourhood, really. So it's a multi-storey school, it's over 6 stories. You've got 4 floors of learning platform in the middle, each with an intelligent facade which moderates the heat and light as well as ventilation, so every room has individual control over its own environment. Coming into the entrance space is very important for a school. It's like a public foyer, it's where everyone arrives at the school wants to communicate about what it does, who it is, exhibition for the children. Passing through a light link here with an external terrace and planting, bringing light into the heart of the school, going in here to a learning platform, which in this view you can see is set up as a single classroom, enclosed. But then these folding screens here can be folded back, and you get then spatial continuity across the corridor, and then you can start using the space in a very different way. You've got reflecting panels on the ceiling which are increasing the daylight to the back of the room. And the important thing for us was to always link back the learning to the place that you're in, so particular views out of the windows into the public realm, in a way connecting back down to the civic ground.
John, it looks a little bit chaotic in here at the minute, but is it going well?
Well, actually it is, really. It's been like working with a team of DIY experts. It's been like a blur of activity, as you can see, all these bits and pieces everywhere. All these yellow bits and pieces, some are seating, some is the shelving for the computer. All that's got to be assembled, it's got to be put together. Staging area comes down here. That will be fixed. Guitars still have to be sort of hung. The kids have been downstairs actually doing all the artwork, the spray paints, doing a great job with that. They're very proud of it. I've yet to see it. So that's all going over there, and there's some extra as well. We can put some over there. So it's painting at the moment, but a lot of construction to do.
I still haven't heard you sing.
You don't want to either.
And we don't want you to either, John. There's lots of painting still to be finished, and the movable benchen that's going in the performance area needs putting together now the students have painted it. More bright blue to go up. And simple brackets we use to put the guitars on the wall. Well, what a fantastic effect. It's stylish and practical. The graffiti panels have dried off and now can go up. And the staging for the performance area can be assembled.
Geography is a multidisciplinary subject. Not only do students look at the physical environment, but they need to think about how people interact with their surroundings as well. That can make it a challenge for teachers. Here are some ideas for resources to brighten up and make your geography lessons creative and interesting. People, places and precipitation, that's geography. Big maps for little fingers. The water cycle simplified. Grow your own glacier with this kit. Between a rock and a hard place. How high is that then? And how far? Whatever the weather, it'll rain somewhere today. And we can measure how much. The British Educational Suppliers Association have a code of practice which their members comply with. You can find details of all these products on the Teachers TV website. Daniel.
Yeah.
You've been involved in some of the artwork and doing some of the stuff in the room. Has it been a fun weekend?
Yeah, it's been really good, and I've enjoyed doing some of the artwork and everything, so I've enjoyed it.
Does it make a difference to have your artwork in the room?
Yeah, definitely. It's like the room feels more cosy, you know, and like it's more of our room, if you know what I'm saying.
And Jordan, how do you think students would feel if you could have more of your artwork and your colours that you choose
I
around?
think it'd just be more like you'd feel like you're at home and you can do what you want. So
And-
it'd just be easier to do stuff.
Everything's finished, so it's time to get it all back in. Lots of computers to rig up again, so best leave it to the youngsters. Let's get set up for performance. The brief was to create a space for listening, for composing and for performance, within a budget of about £1,000. The instruments were tidied up, and the room was personalised by the student artwork. The bank of computers and keyboards was neatened up by a simple shelf system, and a small stage for student performances was installed.
Elle, the room's all finished. What do you think of it?
It's absolutely amazing. Really, really cool.
And is it what you expected?
Better, a lot better than what I expected. When I saw the plans, I thought, and then you just see it in lifelike form, and it is amazing what you've done in a weekend.
And what are the most important bits to you in terms of how you're going to use this room?
I think the stage area is the most important bit, and the performing area.
And Clive, what do you think?
Well, I also think it's fantastic. I suppose the three elements that strike me are the extra space by the lifting of the computers and raising them up and giving more desk space. I also love the performing. I'm feeling very tense and nervous up here, but I know the children will love being up here and actually performing. And I guess also the decoration then and the words, and it's a very striking room now, very exciting. So a very, very big thank you to all the staff and to all the young people, boys and girls, who've turned up and given of their time, because without them, it couldn't happen.
No.
And it's fantastic.
We certainly couldn't have done it without them.
Indeed.
And we're going to see some more of your students' work in a second, aren't we? You've got a performance for us.
That's right, yeah. 1 Year 10 student Ruth Trainer and 1 Year 11 student Jemima Caleb are actually going to perform one of Jemima's compositions for her GCSE coursework, and it's called Nan's Song.
Sit and think of you as tears rush to my eyes. I wonder how I'll cope as every day.
We can get quite a few of you on the stage, can't we? We're testing it out now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 of you up there. Does it feel quite comfortable?
Yeah.
So what will you be doing up here then?
Well, when we make up our songs, so the groups will be able to come up and like try how it feels to be up on stage in front of all the others, singing and playing on all the instruments.
I think it's opened up a lot of space that will make a better working environment, especially on the sides with the shelves. I mean, there was no spaces for books to do the writing and composing and lyrics, so I think it'll make a big difference.
So a simple idea of just raising some monitors and a bit of board has worked wonders.
It's just fantastic. I can't believe the amount of space that's been made in the room. I think it's brilliant.
Because you're up in a special place called heaven, looking down and watching.
John, I just think that this is such a creative space now.
It was interesting. I was talking to one of the staff, and I was saying, well, I don't think we've done too much. And he said, you have. You've actually made this stage area just alone. It's like having a fireplace in a house. We've now got a focal point, which is a good point. I didn't actually look at it from that point of view.
But doesn't that prove that some rooms just don't need a great deal doing to them, but a fresh pair of eyes coming in and looking at how the space is used can make such a difference?
It's a lot easier for me walking in. I don't see the classroom every day, and you see every mistake very, very easily and very, very quickly. And, of course, just listening to what they really need and what they want, and then to articulate that, you know, in a physical sense. Yes, it's proved the point. You don't need to do a great deal or spend even a great deal of money to make a difference to that classroom.
And after hearing them perform, I'm really glad that you and I didn't sing this weekend.
Quite right, too.
If you've been involved in an exciting design project or would like help transforming an area of your school, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us through the Teachers TV website, where you'll also find details of today's programme. From Castle Vale School, it's goodbye from all change.